This is Corey.
And I'm Sharonda.
And this is Until Forever. This is a relationship podcast. We are in no way, shape, or forms experts. We are not relationship gurus.
No way.
We just want to bring you along on our journey and share it with you. And hopefully you can take something from it that will bless your life. Yeah. We are very excited for our fourth episode.
Number 4.
Number 4. This is our fourth episode. So hopefully you are enjoying it. You're liking, you're sharing. You're doing all the fun stuff that you do when you hear something you like. That's what we want.
Yeah, because I'm enjoying doing it.
Me too. I'm having a good time. This is great. This is awesome. So moving right along, today we're going to talk about the good fight. Ooh. The good fight. How do you fight in your relationship? Fighting is inevitable. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So let's start from our perspectives, our personal perspectives. What is your perspective of fighting within a relationship?
I honestly used to think that if it was a good relationship, then there wouldn't be any fighting.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's probably what everyone thinks. But I think that comes from growing up and not seeing a lot of fighting or seeing too much fighting.
Possibly.
I don't think we understand the middle ground. It's crazy that we can't live in like a 5 and not a 10 or a 1 or something, but I think that's the thing. I grew up if there was 2 adults in a relationship and upset about something, you didn't really know if you were a kid. As you got older, you could kind of see the signs.
Definitely.
Oh, they're not talking to each other. Why she sitting way over there? Why they looking at each other like that? You start noticing stuff like that.
Why they sleeping in separate rooms?
Mm-hmm. You get it. Then saying, oh, she ain't going. She's not living at the house right now. She gone with her mom. Like, the stuff as you get older, but you never got to hear the juicy of the juicy. Like, you weren't invited to those conversations.
No, definitely not.
So I think that kind of gave you a perspective of, arguing isn't supposed to happen.
Maybe. That's a good point.
So, if you grow up like that, what do you think the danger of that is growing up? Like, how do you...
You don't, unless you're on the debate team in high school, you don't learn how to communicate well.
Okay, we need to back up for
what?
You had a debate team at your high school?
My cousin had a scholarship for
They have scholarships
in college.
Carbondale need to step
Do you remember the Great Debaters?
I remember the movie, but
with Journey Smollett.
I thought that
and Denzel.
Because that movie took place in the 70s or the 60s or something. I thought it ended back in the day.
They had debate teams
because they didn't have football.
Oh my gosh!
That was my.
They have debate teams.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, unless you were on a debate team, then you probably haven't learned how to communicate when there's a disagreement, or how to communicate a opinion or a side in an argument without it becoming like this blowout.
Okay. That's very accurate. That's a very fair statement. I even today, I don't think we know how to constructively disagree. And you see that in every facet of life. Growing up, we didn't see people deal with their disagreements, and now this generation, everybody sees you dealing with disagreements.
If you put it out there for everybody to see.
There's no other way to do it. I don't think nowadays people know how to have a disagreement without publicizing that they disagree.
Ooh. It makes for juicy drama on social media.
I don't get it. You know, my aunt, she won't mind me calling her name, so I'm going to call her name.
Oh, boy.
But my aunt Darlene gave us some relationship advice when we announced to the family that we would be entering into holy matrimony.
Okay, when we're engaged.
I'm trying to be deep today. It's all right. But, you know, she told us, she said, keep people out your business.
Mm-hmm.
Keep people out your business. If you get upset at each other, don't go talking to other people about it. And I felt her on that. And it was something that we already knew because we had plenty of examples around us. But when we really started, when she broke it down, you know, if I do something to her and she tells her mom about it, and then we make up, and we've dealt with it and we've moved on, her mom might still be upset about that thing. So what happens when we go traveling and we go to your mom's house and she's still upset about some stuff that we done already got over? See, it's your personal disagreements are just that. They're your personal disagreements. Nobody else should have to get over something that wasn't done to them, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
just so we're
doing.
clear, after Corey and I's first big argument, I called my mom because I wanted to come home, and she was like, I don't want to know what happened, and I'll put you right back on the train to Carbondale. And I was like, but you're my mom.
See?
She was like, you made this commitment, and you're going to work through this.
Mm-hmm. You
And
made your bed, you sleeping in it. Well, speaking of that first argument, because I remember that vividly because it messed me up. Because I grew up in the house where, you know, I heard my parents arguing. I never could make out what they were saying, but I knew somebody was yelling. My father communicated his disagreements and you know, when he was upset, he would yell. You know, he would argue.
I can understand. I yell.
We finna, yes. Well,
Oh, God.
she'll shatter a window.
Not like that.
So that was learned behavior. So this is our, you know, marriage is going okay. It's going pretty smooth so far, and you know, we have this argument. So I'm like, oh no, she gonna hear what I got. You know, fella, you know how we do. She gonna hear me, you know. And I get the big voice on her, and she retreated like she left the room. I'm like,
get out,
she
escape.
Gone? You ever seen somebody run so fast like the dust was up? And I thought the room was clean. Dust was in the air, and she ran into our guest room and shut the door and locked it. I couldn't even get in the guest room. And it made me, it really made me, that might have been the most important argument we have ever
That's
had.
not the argument I was talking about, though.
Oh, that was our first one.
Was it?
Our first one married.
No. I mean, remember the one we had in front of your mom's house?
Oh.
About the watch?
Yeah, about the watch.
That was bad.
That was funny. But, so yeah, I think the one I'm talking about might have been the most important one we've had, because it made me sit back and say, why did I get that reaction out of? She's scared right now.
I guess that was a good one, because it helped me to see, like, you could be upset. Not that I ever thought you would want to do anything to me, but like, you could be upset and be raising your voice, and you're not trying to, like, physically harm me. You're not trying to, like, make me feel fearful of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and be intimidated by you. You're just upset. Just the same way how I can get upset. And for me, it was just like, I don't want any parts of this. This is not what marriage is supposed to be like. Because this was still, like, year one.
Yeah.
Year one was not a good year for us.
At all. And it was just about all of it was me. I'm just going to put it out
But still,
there.
it was just, we weren't shown how to communicate.
Right.
And we just kind of had to figure it out as we went along.
Yep. And that's why I think that argument there was pivotal, like especially for me, because it made me see how I can be upset, and regardless of if I'm right or wrong in being upset, the way that I convey that I'm upset, that's on me, and that's important. It's important that I do it the right way, because you want all of your, and they're not going to be, but you want all of your arguments to be as constructive as possible.
Definitely.
So it's not really, we say arguing, but we're really saying disagreements, and because you have to, you have to get rid of the stigma that good relationships don't include arguing.
Yeah.
Because it's just not.
Right. That goes back to last week where I was saying I thought in episode 3, I thought a perfect relationship meant there was no arguing. Like everything was perfect, so you don't have to argue. There's nothing to argue about. But being married taught me that I can totally have an argument, a disagreement with my husband that I'm completely in love with, and we can discuss it, hash it out, and keep moving forward. But no, I didn't. I mean, like you said, when you're young, once you start realizing that couples do have arguments, you start thinking, oh, that's why they don't go everywhere together, and they not really in love because they be arguing and da da da. And so you start thinking, well, when I get married or when I'm in a relationship, it's not gonna be like that. We're gonna do it differently. But you don't be in on all the conversations, and you don't see the behind the scenes. You may have heard one thing, or you may have seen a couple of things, but you don't know every single part of that relationship.
Right. So, we're talking about the big issues. But what about the small issues? Because I know that within relationships sometimes, and even we do this from time to time, we'll have a small issue, and we won't address the small issue because we don't want it to become a big issue. If I bring this up to her now, it's gonna turn into something big. I don't feel like arguing, and
we just had that with the snow. Would you consider that a small thing?
I don't know.
It didn't lead to anything huge, but it became sort of big. Yeah, you were really upset.
I was mad. I think, okay, so let's fill you in.
Okay.
So we just had this big, tremendous snow here.
It wasn't that big.
Well, to us, Carbondale is big. She likes to remind folks she's from Chicago, where the snow is extra
They got
heavy.
way more snow.
Yeah, we got a Harold. So now,
okay.
And so we all this snow was falling and all that, and we're needing to get the van out. So she got a ride to work. Her boss picked her up, and my office was closed for the day. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna shovel the snow up a little bit, So I'm thinking, just make a little path here, make room so that the van can get out, because I gotta go work tomorrow, and we're gonna ride together, and all that, and it'll be good. So I cleaned the van off. I got enough snow out the way in the driveway and stuff. I'm thinking I done did a good job. I go out and I pick her up, and I get home, and I notice she got this look on her face, and she opened the van door, and she's like, what is this? What is this? And she's looking around, and then we go in the house, and I could tell, you could tell when your spouse ain't, So I sit down, and I'm finna relax, I'm ready to relax. And she's getting some clothes on. She putting sweats. I'm like, what is she finna do? I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm about to go shovel the snow. I said, I shoveled the snow. What you mean, shovel the? She said, you ain't shoveling good like we do. Here we go. Watch this. Like we do in Chicago. I mean, we not in Chicago. But, you know, in Chicago, if they don't shovel a path on the sidewalk and completely remove it, they'll write them a ticket and stuff. We're not doing that in Carbondale. So I'm
It's
not
in the code.
If
It's
you
in
go
the
outside, if you, I promise, when nobody
Mr. Code
shoveling their
Enforcement.
sidewalk. And I was appalled. I was appalled. I said, no, she didn't. I'm thinking I'm doing good for the day.
Oh,
and I'm
gosh.
just having a great day. We had an amazing Valentine's Day weekend. And I said, no, she didn't.
He kept pressing. You kept pressing and asking me, well, what's the big deal? So I finally was just, I kind of let him have it a little. And it wasn't like it had built up from anything else. It was just the frustration of trying to get out of the van when I got home and realizing there isn't a clear path here. So I was just like, you have a wife, you have kids, and no, the kids don't plan on going anywhere, but let's say something happened and we did. We're staying with his mom, so I was like, your mom is here. What if she has to go somewhere? We can slip and fall. Like, you need to actually clear some concrete and put some salt down. And I was like, and instead of asking you to do it, I'll just go out there and do it myself. So then he got mad. He didn't want me to do it, but he went out there and did it upset. So that was something very small that kind of turned into something big because we really didn't talk to each other till like the next day after all of that.
I was mad because she told me, this is what made me mad.
I said my dad wouldn't have did it like that.
No. She said, this is unacceptable. I said, what?
I said that?
She said it was unacceptable. I tell you, every man piece in me rose up and said, no, she didn't say unacceptable. And I'm going to tell you, my brain went some places like, I don't smell no food cooking.
Oh, wow.
I don't see no clothes iron. I don't see these clothes getting washed. I don't see this happening. Like, I just, in my head, I'm thinking, because we like that. You know how it, but especially Sharonda, she definitely like that. If I tell her any little thing, you know, why you leave your underwear right there on the floor? I don't do that. She don't do that. Well, but what if I said it, and if you leave them underwear, if I said that, she'll just go down a whole list of stuff I did the past 2 or 3 years.
That's not that long.
2 or 3?
No.
Okay.
I will make a list, though.
1 or 2 years.
And he thinks that anytime he asks me to do something, that I automatically be like, oh, well, you asked me to do something? Well, how about I ask you to do this, 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 and this?
Fellas. Fellas.
Like, if he'll say, oh, I really was wondering if we could have some soup when you gonna start making something for dinner because it's getting kind of late. Which it will be getting kind of late for him to say something because normally I be on top of it. But then I'll be like, well, can you iron the kids' clothes and get their bath water in? Man. Can you fold that load of laundry sitting in the basket?
Let me tell you, brother. You know good and well, if your lady see you having any kind of fun, if she see you smiling too big, and she's not involved in you smiling too big, she will find some stuff for you to do.
I can't believe you saying this.
I promise you, fellas, if you call in to work because you want to relax,
what?
It's going to be a list of stuff. And you ain't going to see the list. The list is going to be in her head. And here's the crazy thing about the list. She'll tell you 1 or 2 things, but she ain't going to tell you all 73 items. 73? You ain't going to find out about them items till she get home and see that you ain't did them items. Then, oh, you been home all day. I guess you just got your little feet up. You just want to relax. I'm telling you. I'm playing. She don't do all that. She do about half of that. But she'll do all that. But the point we were making,
it was something small that turned into something bigger because you got so upset where you didn't want to talk to me, and I was so upset because he was doing the shoveling, which I really wanted him to do. I really didn't want to be out there shoveling it. But I wasn't going to say anything because I knew it was going to make him upset. So now I was upset that he was upset. And I just didn't want to talk to him anymore for the rest of the night. And then the next day, we just kind of started talking about something. But then we still addressed it. I was like, oh, you're talking to me now?
Man, we have fun, and it's important that we do address those items. We always, and I think we're both pretty good at that now.
Now, yes.
Now we're both pretty good at that. For a while, she'll have to speak on that, but for a while, it would be difficult for her to actually address issues.
First of all, Corey likes to talk about things whenever he wants to talk about them,
which is normally right away.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So. Okay, yeah. So I have the tendency for like, if I don't feel in control, then my emotions just start to like go everywhere. So like if I feel like I'm being attacked, which it's not his intention to attack me, but like I'm very hard on myself and others. But just as hard as I am on others, I'm even harder on myself. So for me to feel like I'm failing in a particular area, or I'm not doing something the way that it needs to be done, or the way that he desires it to be done, then I feel like I'll just outright be like, well, can you just tell me how you want it done so I can do it like that? Mm-hmm. Because in my mind, it's like I'm critiquing myself, so how can I get the 5 stars in this area? How can I be the wife and the mom and whatever else I need to be? Just tell me what you need from me so I can do that. And so if I feel like I'm not meeting that, then it's like I just shut all the way down. And then if I'm trying to talk about it when I'm not ready to talk about it because I haven't processed it myself, then I'll just start crying and become an emotional wreck.
Yeah, and see, me knowing that, it makes me address issues with her carefully. I don't just blow up at her. We ease into the conversation. We talk about it. I explain it to her in a way that it will, because she takes things, because she's real defensive and she does take things to heart the way she does. I do my best to explain things in a way to where she doesn't feel attacked. And which brings me to a point that we're trying to make tonight with intentional arguments, like being intentional with making sure that your arguments are constructive and not deconstructive. Like a lot of people argue now, and they argue in a way that tears each other apart.
Definitely.
And then you're left looking at the pieces, and you're expecting your spouse to pick up those pieces. You know, you both are expecting each other to fix things within the other person, when it's a group effort, it's a collaborative effort, and it's done through constructive arguing. You won't get anywhere if you keep pointing out what you don't like.
Do you remember the breakup with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston?
Incredible movie.
That's like the perfect example of how not to fight.
Yeah.
Because they kept pushing each other's buttons to the point where once they both realized, oh wait, I didn't want it to go this far,
it was too late.
It was too late to repair.
It was too late. Yeah.
And so if I were to say how to have a good fight, it would be, don't intentionally push your partner's buttons. Like, you know what their buttons are, so why would you intentionally push it? Like, it just shows that you are aiming to hurt them instead of actually fixing the issue.
That's true. That's good. So, you shouldn't ignore small issues.
No, because they build up. Well, for somebody like me, I just started creating a list of all the small things so that when something big happens, I'm recalling all the small things leading up to the big thing. And for somebody like you, you're standing there like, what? I thought this was just about whatever the big thing is. And the person that's letting everything kind of fester, they're like collecting this list of small things, and it becomes like this whole big bomb in your face.
Yep. 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 That's a. I think my grandfather used to say it's the small fox that destroys the vine. It's those small things that end up being gigantic issues, even if those small things, aren't, they're petty things, little petty stuff. It will compile. It will eventually become something great big. So you have to address those things. Your timing is everything.
Definitely.
We had to work out our timing. Every now and then we got to tweak it a little bit. I was a little too aggressive with the let's fix it right now. And she was more so, as long as we ain't arguing, everything will be fine. So I need to calm down, leave me alone, don't talk to me. And, but I'm like, no, tell me your problem now. I need to know right now. And I would get a notepad and sit down, cross my legs.
Oh, no, he wouldn't.
Number one, what's the first issue? We wouldn't do it.
He definitely was pressing, like, no, we need to talk about this right now. Mm-hmm. And I would be like, no, I'm not talking about nothing.
Yeah, because I'm huge on communication.
The watch was definitely an example of something small, because even though I said I was upset about, he was wearing a watch that somebody else had given him from a past relationship.
It was a cold watch. It was cold.
And by this time, you had already gotten a new watch. You had already gotten a new watch just before we got married. Remember that rose gold watch? He had already gotten a new watch just before we got married. Mm-hmm. But he kept wearing the watch that the previous girlfriend had given him.
Because you got to coordinate.
Okay, so, but my issue wasn't necessarily him wearing the watch. The watch was just a reminder of a larger issue I had about trust. Mm-hmm. Because he had lied about a few things, not necessarily about the person that gave him the watch, but about other people.
Right.
So for me, him wearing the watch was a constant reminder that I can't trust you, because why do you keep wearing the watch? Like, get rid of it. But I let the watch, which was a very small thing, lead to, like, cover up basically a larger issue that was there. Mm-hmm. So sometimes a small issue could be actually about something that's way bigger and deeper that needs to be discussed and dealt with.
That's perfect. So we want to hear from you. I want to know. You don't got to tell us your business. We don't mind. We'll tell you.
Yeah, this is just us.
But you don't got to tell us that. But just, what advice do you have about dealing with disagreements? What advice do you have? How do you turn an argument into just a constructive disagreement, a constructive conversation, to where you're working things out and you're working to a solution?
Yeah.
And I'll say this too. I think it's very important that whatever arguments arise, whatever issues come up in your marriage, that you are sitting down, that you are you're mapping out what this conversation should look like. Where do we want to be at the end of this conversation? What are the real issues here? What really matters here? And how can we get through this disagreement in a way that we're better afterwards?
Definitely.
So, yeah, let us know. Comment on this. How can they reach us?
Okay, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Everything is at Until Forever Podcast. Mm-hmm. And our, you can email us or through like a DM or Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of threw her off. I think she had something you wanted to.
No, I was gonna say, one time I was listening to this other podcast for married couples, and they were talking about fighting, and they were talking about maybe you should fight naked because your defenses are down, but also like it's an intimacy there. It was just a suggestion.
Well, you get on my nerves.
He just
and
trying to start something.
I'm trying to put it. I don't like what you did. You know what you did earlier, and
What?
I'm not happy. And we need to hash this out.
Okay.
You know what to do.
We're not fighting naked though.
Now you just said.
I was suggesting to the listeners and viewers.
Why would you suggest something that you don't practice?
It was a suggestion from another experienced couple.
But we've never tried that. I would like to see. You have to, don't knock it till you try. You know what they say? I think we should try
everyone.
to see if what they're saying is true. Because I get it, the vulnerability.
Yes.
Of being in your nakedness. I just think you really get on my nerves.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. And we'll see you next week. Don't forget to share.
I'm just saying.
I just ended the show. Thank you.